welcome to Easy Mind, Easy Life. So, now going on from our bodies and our thoughts and these beautiful cells within our bodies that have intelligence and are listening to every single thought and every single word that's coming out of our mouth, and they keep molding themselves according to what's going on inside, right? I had this thought of, I'm going to share an experience. So, there's so much talk about what you eat, right? And then what you eat, and it's bad for you, it's good for you, you should eat more of this, less of that, blah, blah, right? All this talk about what you eat. There's just so many theories about it. Anyway, I remember one time, because I grew up with that as well. I had my appendix out by the time I was 11, before I started high school. And looking back, there was a lot of sugar in our diet, a lot of sugary drinks, the soft drinks, which I think I was about 30. And I remember one day having a soft drink and I thought, I can't drink this anymore. It doesn't serve its purpose. I remember I had a bottle of Coke, right? And I drank it and I got to the end of it and I was still thirsty. So I'm like, what's the point? Why am I drinking this if it's not helping me get rid of my thirst, right? If anything, it was making me more thirsty. And I got really frustrated with it that day. And I thought, you know what? I'm not drinking this anymore. And from that day, I haven't had a soft drink. I can't deal with it, right? Firstly, I can't deal with the fizziness. And secondly, I can't deal with all the sugar in it. I just don't want it anymore. Well, that was me, right? But that's beside the point. That's not what the experience was about. But anyway, so yes, looking back, there was a lot of sugar, right? In my childhood, in everything, But, it was, I think 3 years ago. The first time we went up to Nelson Bay, right? And I remember we were there for, I'm trying to think now, 5 days, maybe 5 days. And I didn't change my diet at all, right? But the difference was I wasn't working, right? It was a holiday, so I was completely relaxed, right? I was eating exactly the same things every day. Up there we were eating hamburgers and chips and fish and chips and pizza and whatever, right? I wasn't looking at what I was eating. If I was hungry, I just went to the takeaway shop that was nearby and just bought whatever I felt like eating. I was having the same teas in the morning that I usually have. I like having honey lemon tea in the morning. I like having lots of green tea. And that didn't change. I drink lots of water, which I do all the time anyway. But the food, it wasn't, I didn't change anything. I was doing exactly the same as I was doing here when I was in Sydney. And after 3 days, my sinuses had completely cleared up, which I kept blaming on certain foods. Oh, it's because I'm eating this. Oh, it's because I'm eating that. It's because I'm and my nose is always blocked or runny, or it's always my sinuses are stuffy. They're never clear, right? And I just remember it was 3 days, and in the mornings I'd go off with my daughter on our bicycles. We'd go riding, and we'd spend a lot of the time at the beach. But the only difference for me was that I just wasn't working. I wasn't stressed running from one job to another I do when I'm here in Sydney. I go from one job, I get home, I go to another job, I get home, I get home, I cook, you do all the stuff you have to do at home. It feels like I'm constantly running when I'm in Sydney. And there it was actually the first time I unplugged from everything. For some reason, that trip, I just wanted to be completely present to the beach. When I was at the beach, that was it. I wasn't thinking about anything except enjoying being there, because I knew I only had 5 days to be there. And yeah, it was incredible. By the 3rd day, the pain I had in the bottom of my feet was gone. And my sinuses had cleared up. I felt amazing in just 5 days. But I hadn't changed a single thing I had eaten. All the junk, what you call junk food, because it's fish and chips and hamburgers and chips. And if I felt like a milkshake, I'd have a milkshake, right? So my daughter would have one as well. We'd have one together. If I felt like an ice cream, I'd have an ice cream. So I wasn't holding back in anything, that I'd normally do back here in Sydney. And I found that actually quite amazing, that in that short period of time, my body felt completely different. you know. And I came back with the attitude of, it's got nothing to do with the food, you know. It's got to do with where we are. We're not present when we are here. You know, here I'm constantly racing to, I've got to get to this job, and then I've got to get to that job, and then I've got to get home and do, you know, make dinner or whatever it is. My mind's always forward to the next thing I've got to do. It's never present like I was there. There I was at the beach. There I was with the birds. There I was with the sky. I was with my daughter if we were playing together. I was completely present. My thoughts weren't anywhere else because I didn't want to be anywhere else. I just wanted to be there with my daughter and my husband. I missed my dogs. Yes, I missed my dogs because they weren't with us. But apart from that, you know, I was happy, I was relaxed, and I was present every single moment I was there. That was the time I think one of the first few times I was in the moment. Nothing else. I was nowhere else but in that moment. And so I came back and I thought, you know what? All those times I ate pizza and I think, oh, it's going to make me fat. Or I ate ice cream and, oh, it's going to make me fat. I stopped doing that after that. Because I thought of, you know what? I started to observe. You look at a 2-year-old or you look at a 3-year-old. The first time they have an ice cream, you think they sit there and go, oh, I better not eat this because it's going to make me fat. No, they completely, you know, they eat it and they just enjoy it so much. They're present to what they're eating. There's no other thoughts, right? They're enjoying this ice cream. They're enjoying the taste, how cold it is. They're enjoying everything about it. They're in that moment with what they are eating. And so I decided that's what I was going to do. You know, every time I eat, whatever it is that I'm eating and I choose to have that day, I am going to enjoy it. Just like a 2-year-old. Because that's what we came here to do. We've forgotten all of this. You know, we didn't come here to punish ourselves over everything we eat. Oh, we shouldn't be eating this. Oh, we shouldn't be eating that. You know, we didn't come here for that. We came here to experience. And if you want to sit down and have a nice pizza or whatever it is, pasta, whatever it is, sit down and really enjoy it. Enjoy the textures of what's going into your mouth. Enjoy how it tastes. Enjoy how it feels going down into your stomach and how happy your stomach feels. It has something in it. You know, that you're not starving. That you have this food to eat. Enjoy this life. You know, stop punishing yourself with thoughts like, oh, it's going to make me fat. Oh, I shouldn't eat it. Oh, the calories. Oh, this. Oh, that. Oh, the other. That's not what we're here for. You know, if you want to be healthy, if that makes you happy, go for it. But you can do all of it. You know, when I was young, I was really skinny and I used to eat a lot and not good foods. But I didn't start thinking about, oh, I'm going to get fat until I was about, I'm trying to think now. It was after 15, I think. And I was so active, like constantly moving, running, riding my bike, like always on the trampoline. I was always moving. So I was always burning it off, you know. So there was really no afterthought. I ate because I was hungry and I wanted to eat something that was yummy, you know, it was going to satisfy me. And then I'd go out and I'd burn it all off, you know. The event with my appendix, I'm thinking, that came after a lot of trauma in my childhood. That was after the years that I was at Catholic school and after my grandmother had died, and I spent a lot of time crying. Like, I'm trying to think, it would have been about 18 months, say a year, you know, by memory, that I would wake up crying and go to bed crying because I just didn't want to go back to this school. And my mum thought it was the best thing. She just kept sending me there. But I just didn't want to go. And then one day she took me to this priest, and to me he was an angel. You know, I didn't like him much when when I had to see him up there, you know, doing the sermons and stuff like that. But he saved my life because he said to my mum, if she's not happy, why do you keep forcing her to come to this school, you know? So she took me out thanks to him, you know, Father Paul. And honestly, I think it was all that trauma that caused my problems with my appendix. It had nothing to do with the food I was eating. It's always to do with the trauma, the stress, the distress, the distress that you go through. That is more traumatic to the body than any thoughts of, than what you're actually eating, if you're enjoying what you're eating and you're really savoring it and you're giving thanks for it and you're eating it with that mind of, oh, I'm really enjoying this and I really love eating this, and there's no underlying anything else, go for it. It's the underlying stuff that affects. When we're really coming from a place of, oh, this isn't good for me, or this isn't going to be good for me, or if you're coming from that place, don't eat it, because your mind, your thoughts are already telling your cells, you know what, this is going to be bad for me, this is going to make me sick. You're already telling your cells that when you eat that, that's going to happen. So don't eat it. If you can't sit and enjoy it, don't have it, right? Have what you believe is good for you. Because then at least you're telling your cells, oh, this is good for me. So your cells are like on board. All right, let's do this. It's all fun. All right, my darlings. I love you guys. Remember to click like and subscribe so you don't miss any of the messages. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.